make it live in front of your face so that you can see my thought process here. First, we have to create 3 buckets. We have symbols, the best of the best states, immediately recognizable. Often they have pleasant shape language, some pleasing concavity, a bit more complexity than our next group, the shapes. Usually they only have 1 or 2 distinct features, but if you really squint, they kind of just boil down to polygons. And then our last tier is the dinglers. The dinglers, it's unfortunate. They are small, which shouldn't matter for logos. You can scale them however you want, but we can't escape reality. Some of these states are very, very small, and it just makes them a bit dinglery. A lot of states have elements of dinglerism, you know, but for larger states, it often adds character. So let's just jump in. We've got Alabama. Alabama does have element of dingler down here, and based on their license plate, this is actually where they want you to visit. Let me get the highlight here. Spotlight on the dingler of Alabama, the only state with truck nuts. Tourism truly stored in the balls. Alaska, our first symbol. Now, Alaska does have a lot of dingleriness going on here. A lot of dingleries on the bottom, but this top shape is really holding it all together. I like to think of this as the dingler mothership, and there's a great contrast between this lovely organic coastline and this strong straight back. What a beautiful shape Alaska is. Arizona, it's a shape. You know, you squint and it kind of just boils down to a rectangle, but it's got some interest going on here. It's got this sort of rocking chair bottom. Arkansas is also another state. I like this little notch. This reminds me of pottery on the bottom, you know, like a little stand of a pot. Great shape Arkansas has. California, it's a banana. That's a shape for sure. Colorado is just a rectangle. Unfortunate. This is not a good logo. It gets in the shape tier. It escapes being a dingler. It's not a dingler, but that doesn't mean it's better than dinglers. Connecticut. Unfortunate. You know, here, looking at it just like this, you'd say, hey, that's a great shape. It looks kind of like a speech bubble. I'm sure there's a lot of creative things you could do with that. But when you look over here, where is it? Where is Connecticut? He's right there. That's a dingler, if I've ever seen one. Delaware. Dingler number 2. This, oh my gosh. Delaware, where are you? Dingler. Florida. Whew, oh boy. What a beautiful shape. So recognizable, so iconic. Georgia, you're a shape. I really like Georgia's shape. You know, looking at these states, it's kind of like cloud watching. You can kind of start to see things in the shapes. I really see like a profile in Georgia. You know, there's like a flat top haircut here, the shoulder, like a bottom lip, and then a bumpy nose, like a mandrill's nose. Sort of a mandrill with a flat top. Do you see what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Hawaii is a symbol. Hawaii is kind of cheating. It's a little cut off here. I don't like that the tier list cut off this bit of the big island, but Hawaii is unique. Hawaii is unique in that it is the only island state. Rhode Island thinks it's an island, but these are actually the Providence. Rhode Island is actually, these are the Providence plantations. You can't even see the real Rhode Island that's in this bay because there's such a dingler. All the detail is lost. Look at it. Where is it? Where is it? Idaho. That's a shape. Strong shape on Idaho. Very, very chimney-esque. Illinois, another shape. This is kind of a arrowhead. Reminds me of an arrowhead. It's got like the serrations on the side. Indiana, I do not like. I do not like what's going on along the bottom of Indiana here. Iowa, that's another shape. It's got, you know, a little flare to its hip there, but it's mostly a rectangle, but it's got a little, you know, it's putting its arm on its hip there. It's kind of a little sassy, but it's mostly a rectangle. Kansas, man, Kansas is doing a little bit more than Colorado, but barely. Very barely. Kentucky is also a shape. Again, a lot of people like to say that this is the drumstick of Kentucky Fried Chicken. They got a lot of jagged edges on this organic top border. Louisiana, that's a symbol. How fortuitous that they're shaped. Louisiana, it's an L. Oh my gosh. Maine. Maine is a shape. I think I disrespected Maine, but I think it gets a lot of bonus points for being sort of the like headpiece of the United States. When you look at the United States, you see Maine, but on its own, I don't see it being a symbol. It's kind of just a shape for me. Maryland is a dingler. Dingler, what's going on? I hate this. It looks like it's gonna break. It looks like it's falling apart. Massachusetts is another dingler, but this is kind of a nice dingler. It's got like a nice back rectangle, italicized side, and then this fishing hook on the bay. I like that a lot. Michigan got, in the last one I used, Michigan had like all of the Great Lakes included in its border, and it looked like a complete mess. But here it's a symbol, very unique in that it's got two separate land masses. We've got the Mitt and the peninsula. Minnesota, a beautiful shape if I do say so myself. Mississippi, also a state. Mississippi is giving me like this is like a Simpsons head. You know, this is like the classic Simpsons lip over here. Missouri is a shape. Missouri's got a little buck tooth, and then it's kind of tapered towards the top with a little bit of a flare on the backside. This is a nice shape for sure. Montana often reminds me of a whale's tail. Nebraska, also a very interesting shape. You can kind of see this like rounded backside and flat bottom. Reminds me of like a cat loafing, but then it's got this big square nose. This is a capybara for sure. Nevada has pretty much all of these geometric straight lines, but it does it in a very sharp and cool way. It looks dangerous. Now, New Hampshire, I think I initially put in dinglers. I think that's a little bit of a disrespect. If you look at the map, it's really not that dinglery. It's over here. It's a shape, and honestly, it's very similar to Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets away with its size and its panhandle being a bit more geometric than New Hampshire. But I'm gonna promote New Hampshire into the shape tier for now. New Jersey. New Jersey is a dingler for sure, and can I just say that it looks to me exactly like the stalker character from Hey Arnold, the weird kid who's always stalking Helga. New Mexico is doing as little as possible to distinguish itself from a square. Just a little stair step here at the bottom is all it's doing. New York, that's a symbol. New York is a symbol. It reminds me kind of like a waving flag. This nice curve along the top, the flat edges on both sides. Long Island is definitely a dinglery element. I think the state would be better off without it. North Carolina, I'm gonna say is a shape. Honestly, we need something more for. I'm gonna make a separate bird tier. Watch this. Bird tier. And we're gonna put North Carolina in there. We're gonna put Virginia is kind of a goose, and South Carolina, and all of these are right next to each other. Look at that, the three bird states. These are all birds. Do you see them? The birds? This is like the neck of a goose. This is a goose in flight. This is also some kind of bird. This one's maybe an eagle or a hawk, and then this one is a fat bird. This is a pigeon in flight. I speak of birds and my cat comes into the room, of course. Where are we? North Dakota. North Dakota is a shape. It is not escaping the rectangle tier. No way. We're gonna spread these out a little bit. In fact, I should just make that tier now. Squares. And we're gonna make it dark blue because it's sad. And we're gonna take Colorado, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota is gonna come in there, and Wyoming, of course. These are the squares. Look, gaze upon the squares. Can we get a spotlight on them? They're under arrest for being uninteresting. Ohio actually has a beautiful, now should this be a bird? It's not a bird. It could be a bird. It's not a bird though. This is a shield. This is a shield shape, of course. Now, Oklahoma's got the panhandle here with its friend New Hampshire, recently promoted. The panhandle, of course, could be dinglery, but I think it's saved by its geometric nature. You know, the dinglers often have these organic coast and water lines that make them feel so sharp and brittle. Oklahoma's saved by it being just a square chunk coming out. Oregon, beautiful shape, beautiful shape. And Pennsylvania too, we should talk about these in tandem. They're actually very, very similar when you look side by side, the whole shape language. A little bit of a notch in the top left. Oregon's got this nice proud chin though that's coming off, standing up at attention. We like that a lot. Oregon feels like a healthier shape to me. And if we look at the sizes, you can see Pennsylvania over here and Oregon over here. Pennsylvania walked so that Oregon could run, of course. Rhode Island, what else could it be but a dingler? Do we have to look at the map? Does anyone want to argue? Does anyone want to argue that Rhode Island is not a dingler? Squint your eyes. Tennessee is a shape. It's like the italic rectangle. It gets away with being like a little pointer finger here. Texas. Symbol, of course. A big yeehaw for Texas. Utah is perhaps the most efficient shape to avoid the square category. Simply 2 lines in a notch saves it from being a rectangle. Vermont. Now, I promoted New Hampshire, which means I have to bring up Vermont. They come as a package deal together, and I am always confusing these states, but you know Vermont is Vermont because it is a V. It tapers towards the bottom like a V. Washington, beautiful shape. I think it's on par with Oregon. It's got, mostly this square base, a very strong base, but a very visually interesting end over here on the coastline with the Puget Sound. West Virginia is a dingler. I won't hear anything about it. This is the biggest dingler, but it is the most unpleasant shape. I cannot in good conscience put it in the shape tier. Wisconsin is our final shape. Wisconsin's got a little bit of a spur on the back end that makes it feel dangerous. And now we gotta split these tiers up a bit. Let me make a shape minus tier. Shape minus, we'll make this shape plus. I want to put bird tier between shape plus and shape minus. We'll split dingler tier into dingler plus. Give me a row below here. Add a row below. Make it teal. We'll say dingler minus. Okay. Bird tier will be green. Okay, so we got to spread these out a little bit. I'm going to take Hawaii down here. Let's take Michigan and New York as well. Let's sort Texas to the top. And Alaska or Florida, which is better? Alaska or Florida? Alaska or Florida? I think I like Alaska better, just by a hair. And I think I like New York better than these two. All right, which of these are getting demoted to shape minus? I think Alabama, Arizona, Indiana for sure, Mississippi. We'll take Nevada down here, New Hampshire. Come on down. Demotion time. You're being laid off. Vermont, Utah, Pennsylvania. What to do about Kentucky? I think Kentucky is at the bottom of shape plus. Better than the birds. Oklahoma, I think, is the top of shape minus. And I think Tennessee has to come down here as well. All right, ordering within this tier. Bring Minnesota up. Bring Maine up. Oregon up. Washington up. California down a bit. Illinois down a bit. Missouri, you can come up. Montana, I think I like a bit more than these guys. Ohio's really good. Ohio can come up above Arkansas. Nebraska. Iowa should be near the bottom here. Wisconsin is up here, I think. That looks good. Bird tier is correctly ordered. Maybe South Carolina above North? No. No. Virginia is certainly at the bottom of bird tier. Shape minus. How do we do this? Indiana, go to the bottom. Utah. I like Arizona quite a bit. Alabama needs to drop down a ways. Vermont and New Hampshire need to stick together, of course. New Mexico below Utah. And let's keep these guys together too. Something like this. We need to promote some dinglers. I think Connecticut can come up. I think New Jersey can come up. Massachusetts can, of course, come up. And then I think Massachusetts is probably the best dingler out there. Dingler minus Delaware. Oof, this is tough. How do we order these? I think it's probably just like that. Squares are squares. What's the best square? I think Kansas has done it best. Kansas has owned it the best. Now I couldn't even tell you which Dakota these are. Can anyone tell me? The twins. The twins are. I've dressed them the same, and now I don't know which is which. Colorado, come down here with Wyoming. The Dakotas. This Dakota for sure has got something going on. And I think that's the whole tier list. And we'll put the bucking horse and rider in symbol plus for sure, just for Wyoming. So now Wyoming's at both the top and the bottom. Okay, thanks for watching.